Genesis chapter 50, the Passion Translation, Jacob's funeral, verse 1. Joseph flung himself over Jacob, kissing him and weeping, and his tears fell on his father's face. When he was able to compose himself, he ordered the royal physicians to embalm his father, so they began to require a 40-day process. The Egyptians mourned for Israel for 70 days, and when the weeping period was over, Joseph approached Pharaoh's officials and said to them, "Please, may I ask a personal favor? Bring my appeal before Pharaoh and tell him, my dying father made me promise that I would bury him in the land of Canaan, in a tomb he had hewn with his own hands. Please give me permission to go and bury my father. Then I will return." Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Go to Canaan, bury your father, and keep your promise to him." So Joseph went to Canaan to bury his father, and all the officials of Pharaoh, the elite members of his court, and all of Egypt's dignitaries accompanied him. All of Joseph's household and all his brothers and their father's household went too. Only the children and livestock remained behind in Goshen. Many chariots and horsemen, a huge entourage, accompanied Joseph to Canaan in the land in a grand procession. When they arrived at the threshing floor of Atad on the other side of the Jordan, they mourned loudly with bitter sorrow for a long time. And Joseph spent 70 days there in ceremonial mourning for his father. When the people of Canaan saw the depth of mourning at the threshing floor of Atad, they said, "This is a solemn occasion for grief for the Egyptians," and named the place near the Jordan the mourning of the Egyptians. So Jacob's sons did as they were instructed, and carried his body to the land of Canaan. They buried him there in the cave in the field of Machpelah near Mamre, where Abraham had purchased a burial site from Ephron the Hittite. After burying his father, Joseph returned to Egypt with his brothers and all who had gone with him to bury his father. Joseph comforts his brothers. Verse 13. When the brothers realized they were now without their father, they said, "What if Joseph still bears a grudge against us and decides to pay us back for all the trouble we brought on him?" So they sent this message to Joseph: "Before he died, your father left us this instruction. Tell Joseph that I beg him to completely forgive the sins of his brothers who treated him so harshly. Now please forgive us, servants of the God of your father, of the horrible wrong we did to you." Joseph cried and wept as they read this message to him. Then his brothers came and threw themselves down before Joseph's feet, saying, "We are here as your slaves." But Joseph dried his tears and said, "Don't be afraid. How could I ever take the place of God? Even though you intended to hurt me, God intended it for good. It was his plan all along to ensure the survival of many people. So don't worry. I myself will provide for you all that you need, both for you and your little ones." Then, the more kind, reassuring words, Joseph comforted his brothers. Joseph dies in Egypt. Verse 22. Joseph lived in Egypt along with his father's family and lived to be 110 years old. He lived to see the third generation of Ephraim's children. Joseph also lived to see the children of Machir, son of Manasseh. And Joseph gave Machir's children inheritance right. Then Joseph declared to his brothers, "I will die one day, but God will certainly come to you and fulfill his promise to bring you and your descendants from this land and lead you to the land he promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Joseph." So Joseph had his brothers, the sons of Israel, make a solemn oath, saying, "When God comes to you, you will carry my bones up from Egypt." Joseph died at the age of 110. He was embalmed and placed in a coffin in Egypt.